morning, you guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to today's Days in the Life vlog. These are going to be some very festive days in my life. I feel like we are ready to transition into full Christmas mode over here. We are going to start decorating this weekend. I am ready to rotate in all of the Christmas books, start baking some things. The weather here has not really felt like Christmas vibes, but my hope for this video is that we can both kind of get into Christmas mode together. We're going to talk favorite Christmas traditions and Christmas decor and holiday shopping lists and all of that fun stuff. I just feel like if you wait right until Christmas hits to actually start thinking about all of these things, then it just goes by so fast, and calendars do fill up so much that it feels like you didn't even really get to enjoy the season to its fullest extent. So we're gonna enjoy Christmas together. Anyway, I am currently in the playroom because I am once again trying to declutter and trying to just take inventory of what is in here before heading into the holiday season and the influx of toys that comes with that. At some point in this vlog, we need to get into it because every single year I feel like I get questions from you guys asking about how to manage all of the different toys that come in from family members, and feeling like it can be tricky because there's some things that would be really helpful to receive, but family members also do kind of want to get their own things for the kids that they think are cute, so it can just be a challenging topic, and we'll get into that in this vlog. But because Black Friday is coming up, and I know that there are such mixed feelings and emotions around Black Friday. Some people love it and are so here for all the sales. I know that others get very overwhelmed with the overconsumption of it all. I feel like I kind of sit in the middle where I try not to buy anything on Black Friday other than what we already need, and I also really leverage it to purchase things that are on the Christmas list for everyone in my life. So that is why I'm hyper focused on trying to nail down what my kids are getting for Christmas before the day comes, because if there's opportunity to shop at some small shops that I want to get them a gift from, and they're only going to do one sale per year on Black Friday, I want to be ready in time for that to happen. And speaking of holiday lists, I think we have a general idea of everyone that we need to buy for this year, but one of the people that I have on my list, and I was kind of what am I going to buy for this person, is Jared's grandpa. So we call him Grampy. He's literally a national treasure in our family. Our kids love him so much. And he's also 90 years old. So I feel like every single year at Christmas, it's always this question of what are we going to give it to Grampy that is going to be useful and beneficial? And I found the perfect gift idea ever for grandparents of your kids, especially if they are distant and don't get to see your kids often. And it is the skylight frame. I'm so excited to be working with them on today's video because I just know that Grampy is going to be so happy to receive this gift, because he does live 3 hours away from us, and it's usually a few months in between every visit that we have with him. So the skylight frame is super cool because it is a touchscreen photo frame that you can add photos to directly from your phone at any point in time. It doesn't require the grandparents of your kids to be tech savvy or understand anything really about the frame. You can manage all of that on your own through the iOS or Android app. It holds thousands of photos and videos, and basically from your phone you can just go directly into the app and select new photos and videos to send straight to the frame. They don't need to do anything on their end. All of the photos and videos will just appear new on the frame. And I don't know about your guys 90-year-old grandparents, but we can't just text Grampy. He's not really able to have that kind of back and forth with us. So now in his home, all of these brand new photos are going to appear of our kids as we are taking them live, and it's a really cool way and kind of heartwarming opportunity for us to include him in their lives as they get older as well. It's incredibly easy to set up and use. My kids actually walked through the whole process with me, and we had so much fun taking it out and kind of choosing the pictures together. I wanted to involve my kids in the process of getting everything set up for him because it is kind of a gift on behalf of our whole family. But they do also have something called gift mode. So if you are sending the frame to someone and you don't have the opportunity beforehand to open the package and set it up and then send it, with gift mode you can add photos to the frame in advance, so that when it ships out to that person, if they are a little bit further away from you, when they open it, the photos will actually be pre-loaded, which is a really amazing feature as well. They have amazing customer support, and it's 100% satisfaction guaranteed. So if for whatever reason you or the person that you gift the frame to doesn't love it, they will offer you a full refund as well. The skylight frame is the most popular digital frame on Amazon. So if there is is someone in your life that you know would love a gift like that, maybe to keep them in the loop with the grandkids' lives this holiday season, or you just want rolling photos of kids in your house because that is so cute too. They do have a Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale going on. So all you have to do is head to the link in my description box and use the code BethMoore at checkout to save on the purchase of your frame. Again, it is the link in my description box, and use that code BethMoore to save this Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So thank you so much to Skylight for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Merry Christmas! That was about just as terrible as I expected it would be. But the Christmas tree is up, you guys. We are officially in decorating mode over here, and I feel like that is when it really actually finally begins in our house. For the past couple of years, my husband and I have tried to make the Christmas decorating process kind of like a cool and fun tradition for our kids, but we've had to tweak it a little bit this year just with the age and stage that they are currently at. The last 2 years we have done like a big family breakfast in the morning, and then we have spent a full day basically decorating, getting the tree up, putting the ornaments on, doing all corners of the house. Last year, I felt like by the time we hit nap time for them, they were just kind of like fried and annoyed that we had been in the process for so long, and I still had so much to do. So I ended up just doing a lot of the final touches myself last year. And this year we decided to just not even try and make it like a whole day experience with them. We decided to do an evening of it instead, and it went so much better. My kids went out with their dad into the garage to actually get the tree out, and they all like hauled it into the house together. And then our whole family set up the Christmas tree in the living room. We told our kids that they could help us with like getting all of the lights perfectly positioned and fluffing the tree and positioning it all where it needs to go. I did a really cozy like winter themed dinner with some braised beef and some sweet potato and some nice delicious roasted carrots. And so we all ate our like very wintry dinner together and did the tree, and then we watched Eloise at Christmas time. We watched like 30 minutes of it. So it was a really fun and just like cozy evening with them. And the perfect thing about it all is that now I can focus on the nitty gritty of decor and the stuff that my kids are not really interested in. Year over year now, I have been doing an update on like my theme for Christmas for that year, and then also like other things that I have purchased along the way. I don't think I'm done buying things for Christmas decor this year. There's a couple more things that I want to do to just like fill out our house. I would say that I like to go with a very kind of like old Victorian style Christmas theme. So first thing that I got new this year is another mega Norfolk pine garland. These are the best garlands that you can find, in my opinion, if you are looking for something that is very real and you want to have year over year. I will say they are a little splurgy, but the thing is, you guys, when it comes to garland, there's a lot of plasticky looking garlands out there. Even some of the stuff at Michael's, I find that it just doesn't really actually look real. It's hard because if they don't get the color right, if they don't get the bristles right, it almost just looks like fish tank kind of vibe, like greenery. And so I am willing to just year over year basically just add one more of these actually really nice pieces of garland to my Christmas collection. I don't have a huge collection of decor, at least not in my opinion, but I have basically like year over year added another one of these to fill out different corners of our home. I got a 10-foot in Norfolk pine, and then I actually cut it down because I wanted to have enough pieces that I could fill out our banister. So that is kind of like the big update for me decor-wise this year, that I'm also going to be doing our banister, which is something I wanted to do last year and had the self-restraint to say it's a next year problem. The only other things that are new to me so far this year in terms of like Christmas decor are these little brass bells that I got to add to the garland. Oh my heavens. I kind of want to bunch these together at the end, and I got this like oyster colored ribbon to tie a bow and kind of hang from as well. So curious to see how I figure all that out, and curious to see how I get the garland to actually stay on the banister, because I did not get any zip ties or anything. And then the other thing that I just honestly have not hung up yet that you guys have already seen is this little peg shelf. Put it to the side and figured I would put it up when I do the rest of the Christmas decor, because it does kind of even just have like a Christmassy feel to it. Those are the only new things that I have for this year. But for right now, I'm gonna start doing some of the decor things that are harder for me to do when my kids are home, because they are out right now. We're gonna see how much decorating we can get done in like the next hour or so. Over here, also I'm gonna really have to try and not spill that. This is the rest of the Christmas decor that I have. So a quick little tour. This rug here is new to us last year. This is from Ruggable. My daughter picked this out. I basically let her kind of choose what rug she wanted to be like our family Christmas rug that we would pull out every year for the front entry here. And this is the one that she chose. It's so cute, and I'm really excited to set that back up today. Over here, I have all of my ornaments. I want to add a little bit more color this year. I have a lot of like whites. I have some glass ornaments. I have some that are kind of like raindrop looking crystal ones. I did actually get some red velvet ones on Amazon that I don't know are going to be here by the time that I get like all of this done in this vlog, but I'm going to just kind of sparse some red through along the way because I think it's just cute and nostalgic. Over here is our kids' Christmas train. I just set this up in the playroom. It's like a little wooden train from Magnolia Home. And then up here is all the greenery, all the other kind of like classic Christmas stuff. So I have a little cedar wreath. I have some more antique bells, some stockings. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do for Rosie's stocking this year, because I kind of need to now get like 3 new stockings for the kids. That's not my problem today. And then these are the only little like bits and bobs that I have. I don't know how else to describe this, but the kind of things that you just like use to fill out your decor, like the little stone houses, and then everything else is just for the Christmas tree. So we will see what else gets added in this vlog.
Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it right here.
Your hand.
That's my other hand.
That's when you got bigger, and this is Juju's hand from his first Christmas.
When he was little.
Maybe while I was looking through all of my decor stuff, I found these little like antique bells that I thrifted from a thrift store near our cottage in the summer, and I remember getting them and Jared being like, it's way too early to be thinking about Christmas, but now I'm so glad that I have them. I'm gonna cut them all off of this string because I have this ribbon, and Viv and I are gonna thread it through, and I'm gonna have a bunch of little like antique bell ornaments to put on the tree, which I think is gonna look so cute and a fun thing that we can do together. Okay, y'all are gonna think I'm crazy for this one, but I have heard that when you get new Norfolk garland, that it's helpful to run a blow dryer over it because it will just make it look a little bit fluffier and more full. So I'm about to blow dry my garland. who's ready for a HomeSense haul? I'm pretty sure HomeSense is like the equivalent of what is Home Goods in America. I have been to Home Goods and it's very HomeSense-esque. So my guess is that HomeSense is literally just the Canadian version of that. I went with my friend Britt this morning and just got back from that. We found so many good things, so I thought I would show you guys what I picked up. First of all, I wanted to get some cute dish towels for over our oven. The maker of these is Rachel Zoe. I have never heard of it before, but I thought they were really cute. It's kind of like a little mistletoe vibe. And then this gingham print in here is so cute too. They are 100% cotton. So I grabbed those. I also did end up buying these candles. All of them were so toppled over in the box. So I mean, they do stand upright. So this is what they look like. I just thought that those were so fun to kind of like stack on top of a pile of books or put in a bathroom or anything like that to just add a little festive touch to different corners of your house. This one I am very excited for. I do not have batteries yet, so I can't show you in its full effect at this point in the vlog, but I got this little Christmas like lamp. I thought that this would just be really pretty to have on like early in the morning or late at night if you're baking cookies, just to give your kitchen kind of like a cozy Christmas vibe. And my husband and I were just talking about how we wanted more just like ambient lighting in our kitchen, and so I think this is gonna be really cute on the counter all lit up. I can't wait to find batteries. I did also grab some wrapping paper. This one's probably gonna shock you guys. It shocked me that I decided to buy it, but we're going full festive this year and full nostalgic this year. I saw this and it just like immediately took me back to childhood and like the type of stuff that your grandparents would have like had their gifts wrapped in or wrapped their gifts in for you. It's just like, oh my gosh, like so 90s, 80s Christmas vibe. So I really wanted to get this because I thought it was just like a fun print for the kids mostly. The older that my kids get, the more that I just like resonate with the thought of like, this is for them. And like, I want to make this special and magical for my kids. So we can still make this beautiful, but I thought that that was a fun print. And then I did just grab some like craft paper to scatter in and throughout. And then I got a couple of things for our kids. So my oldest is very crafty and we do like a lot of fun crafts and like art projects together, and I really thought that I was gonna get them a Christmas tree for their room this year, but I haven't found like a small tree at a price point that has made sense. In the meantime, I saw this little like window cling making kit. I've never heard of like a kit for something like that before, but it comes with all of the paint that you need and then like the holiday designs that you fill in, so you can actually like make the window cling and then they can decorate their window with these. So I thought that that was just like a fun little activity for us to do together. This next thing I think I'm actually going to gift to one of my daughter's friends because she has a birthday coming up and it's quite close to Christmas and the holidays as well. It's from Oosborne and they make really amazing like interactive lift the flap and just like fun books for kids, but it is a full slot together theater and it's got like all of the characters in the stage from the Nutcracker, Midsummer Night's Dream. It's got a book inside that has the stories and kind of tells you like when to bring the characters out so you can reenact the play. So for any child that loves like arts or theatrics or things like that, I feel like this is just such a fun gift, and I will see if I can find a link for it online. I'm sure there are other places that you can get it. On the topic of gifts for kids though, let's just have a chat about that for a second, because as I mentioned, I get questions about that all the time from you guys about like how to manage that and different strategies to take when it comes to family and friends. First of all, we can all agree that no one is coming from the perspective of being like ungrateful, or at least most of you, I would assume. Like, I think we're all just grateful that people love our kids and are willing to get them things, but that does not mean that it's not overwhelming sometimes, especially when a lot of the time that means duplicate presents or things that they don't actually need or don't actually like, or that end up getting donated literally shortly after the gift is given. I definitely see how that can be frustrating, especially if there is real need for something for your kids. Most of our family members are very open with us about what they want to get for our kids, and they're also very like open to receiving suggestions and actually ask for that a lot of the time as well. I think that like establishing that kind of back and forth and being comfortable enough to do that is the first thing that I would recommend. And I know that it can feel awkward sometimes, but honestly just bringing it up in conversation like, hey, there's absolutely no pressure, but if you're considering getting a gift for this child this year, like there's a couple of things that he really needs or would actually love to receive. This is also a great opportunity to, if you've ever used the trick of like taking a picture of your kids with an item that they found in a store, that's the type of people that you can send those things to, because most of the time those are like the things that we never end up going back for. So that is my first piece of advice always, is to just have the conversation, even though it might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. You just want to set that parameter, especially because then moving forward, it doesn't need to be like a stress or a tension point over and over again. I have also heard of parents do things like gifting funds into children's education and things like that. And I think that that is great if people are willing to do it. I think you're probably going to be pretty hard pressed if grandma really likes to go rogue and buy something really crazy for your kids that they're going to get like a reaction out of them when they open it. I think that's honestly the biggest driver of why people even go rogue with Christmas presents, is because they think that the thing that they're buying is going to make the child happiest or get a reaction or whatever. And I personally don't know any kid that would be like so jazzed to hear that grandma made a donation to their education fund. I know it's an option, but I know that it's a little bit harder to get people on board with. One that I have heard that I think is a great alternative is having a family member or a friend or whatever that wants to get a gift contributing to or purchasing some sort of experience or extracurricular, something like a trip to the zoo or to the aquarium or ballet classes or things like that. It's not going to add clutter to your life. It's not just another thing that your kids are going to use and then stop using. It's actually something that will kind of feed into them over time as well. So I feel like those are kind of the ways that I approach it. I also have friends that create registries for their kids for birthdays and Christmas. And so whenever someone asks if there are any ideas, they literally will just send out the registry, because then that way they don't get duplicates of things too, which can also be a good way to navigate it. So those are just some of the different strategies that I have heard. I personally always just go with the approach of having the conversation. We have some family members that just honestly prefer to buy things that make them think of the child or whatever, and I never get mad when that is happening. But we do also donate and declutter things often, and if that thing doesn't end up being used by my child for a long period of time, then we're happy to just donate it, as we are with all of the toys that end up coming in. So I hope that that helps you guys just kind of navigate some of the holiday gifts for your kids this year. Just about to make my first batch of Christmas cookies for the season, and I thought I would share the recipe with you guys because they are one of my favorite Christmas cookies to make. I've made them every single year for a few years now. I feel like this is the cookie that I hope my kids remember me for when they're older. But I have 2 parties to go to tonight, and I needed something that was a really big batch because I'm gonna bring some cookies to both of them. So this is a really chewy ginger molasses cookie. It makes 36 cookies. So So unless you have a really big baking sheet, you are going to be putting cookies in and out of the oven for a while. You can also save the dough just in the fridge or in the freezer if you want to come back to it, but I thought I would share that recipe with you guys today. We're gonna start with 1 1/4 cups of butter, softened at room temperature. You could use salted or unsalted. Generally the recipe calls for unsalted, but I find that a little bit of salt in a cookie is usually not ever a bad thing. Next up, we're going to do 2 cups of white sugar, then 2 large eggs, and they do not need to be at room temp. And then you need a 1/2 cup of molasses, and this is pretty well the most important ingredient in this recipe. So using my paddle attachment, I'm going to cream these together until there is no streaks on a low speed. Next up is the dry ingredients. So in a separate bowl, I'm gonna do 4 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and you can use either fresh or ground for this. And last, you want to do a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. Now we are going to take our dough and basically just make a huge ball. It's going to be very soft at this point, and we're gonna stick it into the refrigerator in like a plastic wrapped ball for about an hour so it can harden up a little bit. If you skip this step, your cookies will just be very flat and like a little bit crunchy, especially because the butter was at room temperature. So sticking your dough into the fridge to allow it to harden up a little bit is going to make the dough a lot easier to scoop, and the actual final product of your cookie a much nicer, at least in my opinion, consistency as well. Okay, let's talk Christmas traditions, but let's do it while I fold my laundry because I have 2 massive baskets. I don't know how I've accumulated so much laundry over the past couple days. So I'm just gonna work on folding this while we talk about the list of Christmas traditions that I made to share with you guys. I actually had a number of people ask me to do a whole video on this topic about the Christmas traditions we have in our family and how we incorporate faith into the holiday season and kind of keep that at the forefront and just what it looks like to have Christmas traditions with young kids. So I have a super long list here, and I'm not necessarily going to explain everything. I'll explain the things that need to be explained, and we're just gonna go through them, and I'm curious which things you guys do in your families and which things you could maybe share in the comments for us to try too. Okay, so first thing on my list is setting up the Christmas tree. And this is a tradition that obviously a lot of families have, but the way that we do it a little bit differently is that it is a big celebration in our house to set up the Christmas tree. It would be like devastating for our kids if the Christmas tree was set up and they were not present for it. Basically, we started this tradition by doing like a really big family breakfast in the morning and then doing like a full day of decorating together as a family. As our kids have gotten a little bit older and are not interested in being involved in decorating for that long, we've changed the tradition where now they are involved in getting the Christmas tree set up in the living room, and we do like a big cozy winter themed dinner and a movie night coinciding with that. So that has become the new tradition, and our kids love it. It feels very magical to them to be a part of the process of getting the tree set up. And I would say that that is like the very first thing that we do when the Christmas season starts. Okay, next tradition is pancake men. This I actually got from a Laura Ingalls Wilder book. She is the author of the Little House on the Prairie stories, and she has a book called Christmas in the Big Woods, I think it's called, that we have. I actually can't find it right now, which is so sad. Basically, one of the traditions in that book that the family has is that on Christmas morning, their mom makes them pancake men, and they are basically just pancakes in the shape of gingerbread men. And so you can achieve this a couple different ways. You could do this with like an actual like gingerbread man shaped pancake press. That's a lot of storage for me that I don't want to take on, so I literally just use a gingerbread man cookie cutter. Basically, my rule with this is that I will only cut 2 pancakes into that shape, and beyond that, they eat the scraps of the pancakes that we've cut out just to reduce food waste. But our kids do love having pancake men, and it's not something that we save for Christmas Day. I'll actually make them basically throughout the entire Christmas season. Next thing on my list is a Christmas book rotation. I have done this with our kids for the last 3 years now, basically since my first daughter was a baby, and I will kind of clear out all of the books that are in our main play space and in the living room and swap them out with Christmas themed books. And it's just a fun way for us to be quick to read the Christmas themed stories and the ones that talk about Jesus and the real meaning of Christmas, but also have really beautiful storylines like I think it's called Christmas Miracle? I'm not sure, of Jonathan Toomey. That one is so good. The Christmas Tapestry, devastating book, but so good. There's just so many really high quality children's books around Christmas time, and so we like to spend our time reading them all month. Next on the list is holiday baking with the kids. Pretty self-explanatory, but I do try and involve them in that at least a little bit throughout the month. I will do a lot of baking outside of that time as well when my kids are actually asleep. My recommendation on this would be to not put too much pressure on actually making like good desserts that you would present to someone else, like a neighbor, while you're baking with your kids. Just use that time to have fun, and if it turns out awesome. Next thing is that our family movie nights for basically, I would say mid-November all the way up to Christmas are always a Christmas movie. We have still not figured out what all of those movies are going to be, but again, because there are so many great classic movies, we're going to try our best to keep all of them festive, and even if we're only watching little bits of it, we can continue that on like a next movie night. This next one is one that my mom did for my sister and I growing up, and it was always so special, and it is a new pair of pajamas on Christmas Eve. So we are a family that does not do any opening of presents on Christmas Eve that are like general presents under the tree, but you can open one present, and every single year it is always a brand new pair of pajamas. Growing up, it was kind of a balance where sometimes it would be like obviously very Christmas themed pajamas. When you get a little bit older, sometimes it's nice to just have like a good pair of pajamas to wear throughout the next year, and they'll be able to wake up in those on Christmas morning. It's what they wear to bed that night, and then we'll do like a family photo in the Christmas pajamas the next day, and that has just always been a tradition that I've had growing up, and I'm excited to do with my kids too. All right, next thing on the list. This is something I did not think I was going to do this year, but I've caved and I've decided to do it, and it is a kids' Christmas tree. So basically the reason why I waffled on this is because I just didn't want to spend more money on Christmas decorations, but this is a pro tip for any of you that are watching in America, because I know a lot of you are. Target has the most amazing like kids Christmas tree section. $10 for the cutest little trees. You can get tree skirts, you can get ornaments and lights for them. So basically I had her pick up for me a little Christmas tree and the tree skirt. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to set it up in the kids' room, and then every single year they can pick out one ornament each to hang on the tree, and then over time hopefully build this wonderful collection of all of the ornaments that they picked at the different ages of their childhood. This one I handle all the baking for, but I do involve our kids in the process and kind of explain the why behind why we are doing it, and it is delivering Christmas cookies to all of our neighbors. So we will send a box to the neighbors that has a bunch of different Christmas treats in it, and I will try and do like 4 or 5 different treats. I will write a note on behalf of our whole family in the card, basically just letting them know that we hope they have an awesome Christmas, that our family is praying for them. It's just a way to kind of be a light to the neighbors that are around us. But I do involve them in the process of writing the cards. I'll generally have them like scribble something inside or something like that. I think it's a really good way to kind of teach that principle of loving your neighbor and having a relationship with them and knowing who your neighbors are to your kids. Next is driving or walking through Christmas lights. There is an actual drive-through kind of light show where we live, so it's a really nice option if your kids are in car seats and can't necessarily see everything when you're just driving down the streets in your neighborhood. So regardless of whether they're forward facing or frontward facing, they can still kind of see what's happening. So we'll probably do that this year, as well as drive around and see the lights in our neighborhood. This one is so special for us, and it is our church Christmas production. I think that it is so fun to take your kids to a church Christmas production, and if you can actually have your kids participate in it as well, it is such like a childhood core memory. I did it as well when I was a little girl, and I still remember the time that I got to be Mary. I remember the time that I got to be an angel. I think for a number of reasons, it's an amazing opportunity for kids that is very unique at a young age to be a part of a church Christmas production. Last year was my daughter's first year in our church Christmas production, and she performed I think like 4 times in front of thousands of people. So very cool opportunity, and this year our little boy, our 2-year-old, will be in it with her as well. So we are just so excited. We are inviting all of our friends and family. Next is making a gingerbread house. Pretty self-explanatory, something that we like to do every year. And same with visiting a Christmas tree farm. So I actually mentioned to you guys when I went to the Christmas tree farm in October this year, because the one near us does stuff for like the fall as well, but there's just nothing like going to the Christmas tree farm, and my recommendation would be to do it whether or not you have a real or a fake tree. We are a fake tree family right now. I just cannot take on the job of watering a tree and having all of the pine needles everywhere. It's just too much right now. But I do think it's such a special experience to go as a family to the tree farm, get hot chocolate, dilute it for your kids, walk around, see what's there, and just have that special kind of like family memory growing up. So we will be taking our kids there this year too. Next thing is donating to a toy drive. So I think that this has been really helpful for our kids in kind of reframing the perspective of presents and abundance, and thinking that Christmas is kind of all about that and receiving. I think that it's a way for them to actually remember, like, hey, there are kids that aren't necessarily going to be receiving presents on Christmas Day, and so this is a way that we can actually contribute to them, and we are blessed to be a blessing. So how can we together choose out toys for a child that might not actually receive anything this year otherwise? And so it was a really good teaching opportunity to be like, this is for someone else. Like, we get to give, and that's what Jesus calls us to do with our resources. And so that is something that we will do with all of our kids again this year, is choosing out toys and then actually including them in the giving away of those toys to a toy drive. I think it's a really great way to instill those principles of generosity early. Now we are getting into like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day territory. So something that is always and always will be a tradition for our family is the Christmas Eve service at church. It is not Christmas Eve until we make it out to this service, and we will always dress to the nines for this. I also do think that Christmas Day and Christmas Eve are amazing opportunities for inviting to church. So if you have people in your life that maybe don't go to church, try and go to church on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, whenever the services are for you guys, and invite them. I find that people are just a lot more receptive to an invitation around this time of year, and it is a really fun way to, in the midst of it all, in the busyness of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, remember why we really are celebrating. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy for this, but after the Christmas Eve service, we will come home and we will always host a Christmas Eve party. So I usually leave the service a little bit early and I come back and I will put out appetizers. We will invite like 15 to 20 friends and basically just do a big games night. So this is a tradition that I had going every single year when I was younger as well. My mom would always host the best Christmas Eve parties. Our kids generally stay up a little bit later on Christmas Eve anyway, but even if they get to bed at like 9 or 9:30 because we're having a party with some friends, they just sleep in a little bit more the next day anyway, and then we don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn to start opening presents. Another tradition that I have is that on Christmas Day, we kind of start that morning like a little bit candlelight, if you will. I try and keep the lighting really low and peaceful, and we have certain candles in our house that I actually only light on special occasions like Thanksgiving or Christmas Day. So when our kids come out in the morning, they will see all those candles lit, and it's just like, I don't know, a very fun and cozy kind of practice that sets the environment for that morning as well. We also start every single Christmas morning with a reading of the Christmas story from Luke. This is a tradition that I had growing up, that my husband had growing up. I mean, we're both children of pastors, so we're just kind of continuing that in our family as well. You just can't start anything on Christmas morning until you have read the Christmas story. So this is also a really great way to encourage patience if your kids are very anxious to start opening presents, is that we say, no, we're actually going to pause and read the Word of God first. Next tradition is that on Christmas morning, I will usually have some sort of breakfast that is referred to as a wife saver. It is a breakfast that I generally prep the night before and then can pop into the oven to bake while we're doing other things on Christmas morning, whether we have started to open presents or we are just kind of waking up and I don't want to be tied to the kitchen during that time. So the wife saver is really beneficial because you literally just turn on the oven and put it right in, and then the house smells amazing. It's a very nostalgic breakfast, and Jared's mom did a version of wife saver every year growing up. My mom did a version of wife saver every year growing up. So it is a tradition that we have carried forward because it really does not feel like Christmas morning without wife saver. And the last thing that I wrote down in terms of traditions that we have is another Christmas Day one, and it is a Christmas Day scavenger hunt. So this one we got from Jared's side of the family. Basically every single year they would do all of their Christmas presents, and then at the very end when the kids were done opening presents, there would be this mysterious envelope on the Christmas tree. And basically the envelope would be the beginning of a scavenger hunt that would lead them all throughout the house on different kind of like journeys to try and figure out where this final last present is. And basically this last present is the most significant present that the kids are going to get that year. And so they were always so excited to do the scavenger hunt growing up because it would lead you to this big final gift. So we did it last year with our kids and kind of carted them around the house as they read the different clues, or we read the different clues to them. It was really fun for them, and the whole kind of caveat with it is that the final present is not wrapped. So by the time you get to it, you don't also have to unwrap it. It's just kind of like this grand reveal when you get to see it. And our kids really enjoyed that last year, so we will be doing that this year again. On that note, I am going to wrap up this video here. I hope that you guys enjoyed coming along with me over the past week as we got our house and ourselves ready for Christmas. Any part of me that was not feeling like into it or the Christmas spirit at the beginning of this video has left. I am now like fully in Christmas mode. Call me Miss Claus. We are ready to go. So I hoped that this video helped you guys get excited for Christmas as well. I wanted to remind you that if any of you are looking for a gift for a family member, especially for grandparents, that the skylight frame is on sale for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And again, the link for that is in my description box, as well as a coupon code for you guys to use on Amazon to save on that. So I hope that that can really help some of you that have a hard time maybe shopping for parents or grandparents. So thank you again to Skylight for working with me on this video, and until my next video, I hope that you guys are having the best time getting into the Christmas spirit yourselves. I love you guys, I'm praying for you, and I will see you soon.